Get into Gate. This is episode 17. We are talking Solitudes, Stargate SG-1, season 1, episode 18. We are the Get into Gate crew. My name is Mitch. Joining me, the full team, Matty.
Yo.
Brendan.
Hello.
And the newbie to the show, the rookie of the Get into Gate team, Rhys.
Well, g'day there.
Welcome.
AKA Team Bring It.
Yes.
That's what's
the
on your
one.
shirt.
Just bring it.
That's a good shirt.
Yeah, mate.
Is this a Christmas present by any chance?
Yeah, to myself.
Yeah, that's the best kind.
I just go to Carindale or Garden City when I'm supposed to be working and just check out what t-shirts there are and
Is it
get
a
paid.
is it a reference to something that I don't get?
Is it The Rock?
Yeah, it's on the back.
Why is there a
Yeah.
picture of a bull and it says The Rock?
It's the Brahma Bull.
What's that got to do with The Rock?
You watch Star Wars, Clone Wars, and not even the wrestling. Come on, man.
No, I like my fiction to know it's fiction.
And I feel weird because I
shit.
was on Team Reset for a second. He says he brought up the wrestling thing. I'm like, oh, I'm back on Team Matty now.
Hey,
'Cause I don't know
do
wrestling.
you want to
I don't
know?
know
Do you want to know what The Rock's first ever acting gig was, where he was like not in wrestling and actually on a real TV show?
Scorpion King.
Star Trek.
Yeah. He
Was it? What about that 70s
I don't think
show?
that wasn't before wrestling.
What about that 70s show?
No, aside from wrestling, it was his first gig outside of wrestling. on
Before
TV.
that 70s show.
It was his first ever, and he played a wrestler. He played an alien wrestler.
Yeah.
So it was a stretch for him. He actually gave 7 of 9 the rock bottom.
he did.
Yeah.
I would have rocked her bottom.
I knew I should have brought up 7 of 9 in front of you, Brendan.
Well, hardly enough. The Rock is not in this episode of Stargate. We're happy to
Back to the
talk
other
about him.
intro.
Whatever. Okay, full disclosure. This is the second time we started recording this episode, and we started to do it again because the first one
Yeah.
we thought was terrible.
Yeah.
Maddie brought up incest. So
I was going to say, this intro is less weird.
I was clarifying.
Don't give context.
I was
Don't give
clarifying.
context. The most important thing people need to know is that you wanted to start the show off by talking about incest. No need to know why. No. Maddie's just
Brendan's potential incest.
Oh my God! We really just don't start digging down again, mate. Okay, we're here.
Potential.
I'm not confident.
Says his
hey,
brother.
Rhys, you my all right?
Oh Jesus! There we go. Okay, for anyone who's joined us in the past before, that is when we
Welcome
go off a little
to
tangent.
Yeah, we just lost 10 listeners now.
That's okay. You know what? The
We're in the
hardcore,
negatives,
the
so we-
awesome ones are still with us.
Yeah,
How can we
us.
have a negative 3 listeners?
but we've gained a niche market.
Oh God! I hope this isn't the first time you're listening to the show. I really don't. But if it is, Rhys, the rest of us here, Matty, myself, and Brendan, all massive long-term fans of Stargate. Rhys, we've found out, has never seen an episode. We said, look, you start. We're going to rewatch it with you. And we're just going to sit in front of a couple of black sticks and talk about it. So anyone want to say anything at the back of the black stick reference? No? Let's push on.
Please.
Let's talk about Solitudes, and let's go to the back of the 1990s DVD to see what it is about. Following a Stargate technical defect, O'Neill and Carter find themselves stranded on an icy wasteland. O'Neill is severely wounded and both are freezing. Can Walter find the section of the universe in which they are stranded?
That's actually accurate.
Yeah, that's great.
He is back at SG-1 in this
Yeah.
episode trying to figure out where the hell they are.
Yeah, I feel like this week and last week, Walter's gotten just that little bit more to do. At least even if he's not doing a lot, they're showing him somewhere. Like, we know him, we love him, but I feel like his face is starting to pop up a little more. I mean, he's still popping up as technician, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Doesn't
whatever.
have a name yet.
I noticed his name. He had a name badge on. Said
Oh, did he?
Davis.
Ah.
And I'm like, is that Walter Davis? Hey,
I think that's his middle name.
Walter Davis.
They got his name tag wrong.
Yeah, and no one cared to ask.
Came back. He said, that's not my name. And they're like, just wear it.
Some guy named Davis left, and he just picked up his uniform. Sweet.
It's like when you
Free
work
cardigan,
at Subway and has
yes.
to have someone else's
Some
name
random
tag.
name.
Your glorified
Promotion.
job is dialing a phone, mate. No one cares what your name is. Except this show, Walter.
Yeah.
We
I love you, Gary Jones.
Have you ever, met him?
Mitch met him.
Oh, now I just met him. Usually when we're name dropping, it's you who met him along with me. Come on. God, I'm out in the cold.
Oh, dear.
Pun? No, cold,
Mitchell.
ice.
Well, you know, we're
Where's
talking
that
about...
wiping sound where you cut it again?
Well, when we're talking about Walter here, and I don't really want to pick on him too much, but this is one of the occasions where the gate is starting to open and Walter yells out, "Incoming traveller, SG-1's ADC," and the wormhole isn't even established yet.
Yes.
You can't blame Walter though. I blame the editor.
Yeah.
Like I refuse.
Did Robert
I
Scuba
refuse to
have
blame
anything to
Walter
do
for
with this?
anything.
And you know what? This is one of the. This might be the first of
introduction
of the Super Team, almost written by Brad Wright and directed by Martin Wood.
Martin Wood, easily, I think, one of the 2 top most prolific Stargate directors. Like,
Absolutely.
really gives the show.
He always does
pace
the
and
big ones.
yeah, he does the action stuff.
Yeah.
And Peter DeLuise always does the more sort of drama comedy sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But those 2 easily the best, and I think the most used directors that Stargate has between now and the end of its 10-year run.
Yeah, definitely.
And ironically enough, the introduction of Sergeant Sylar as well.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. You stole me just under there.
One of the few notes I had down about this. But no, it was good actually to see his face again because I haven't seen these episodes in so long. And he's one of these great background characters, Rhys, like Walter. I'm not spoiling anything, but yeah, he's just someone that pops up and you might not have a clue who we're talking about, but you'll start to recognise him as he pops up again. So I think for long-time fans, if you're going to go back and rewatch it like we are, it's kind of cool to see how early he popped up and as little as he did in this episode.
Yeah,
too.
and a bit of trivia for Dan Shea, who's the actor's name. He is actually Richard Anderson's stunt double. And photo double and all that sort of stuff.
He's also the stunt coordinator.
Yeah, he becomes
right?
the stunt coordinator, and he's a pretty well-known sort of stunt actor and all that sort of stuff. He was actually in X-Men: Days of Future Past as well.
Really? I didn't know he was still doing like big stuff, mainstream stuff as little as a couple of years ago.
It's literally a 3-frame shot, but it's when Magneto is sort of attacking the White House, and he lifts up a beam or maybe throws a car or something like that, and it cuts to a police officer sort of reacting as something's flying at him. That's Sylar.
It does become a kind of an in-joke in the series as well, Rhys. Like, if he's in the episode, he'll most likely get injured somehow.
And
Or carrying a giant
spanner that slowly gets larger and larger, till at one point he's carrying a spanner that's about 2 foot long. And then that's when the bosses sort of intervene and go, okay, enough with the spanner jokes.
Where did you get
But
that?
before they did that, because they'll be in the background, and in the foreground you'll have whatever our characters are talking about, but then you see someone, Sylar and whoever else the other extra is, and they're looking at this spanner like it is one of the great mysteries of the world.
Yeah.
And they're pointing at it.
It's mostly Peter DeLuise
or
Martin Wood.
And they're doing great like extra acting where everything is so, over the top.
In one episode, I think they're literally cradling it like a baby. And then the other one that I think Martin Wood started the spanner, and Peter DeLuise started the pineapple. So once he tries to fit a pineapple in every episode, whether they're on a planet and they have to spray paint it purple, or whether they go to the commissary or anything like that, he tries to fit a pineapple in every episode. That's why they're my 2 favourite directors of all time. Like, they're just so good. Well, in Stargate. Not of all time, but in Stargate.
Chris Nolan's your other one of all time.
Yeah.
Chris Tolan.
Chris Nolan.
Speaking of Sergeant Sylar, which again is another point, because the man does have a lisp. So that's why they intentionally named him Sergeant Sylar.
Oh, God.
Just so that you have to say, Sergeant Sylar, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But there's a great... You guys may not have known, but there's a really great Star Trek reference. So we're introduced to Sergeant Sylar trying to fix the gate, and there's this. I think it might be a little nod to a great Star Trek trope. So if you listen to this, there's an ongoing trend and sort of running gag in Star Trek where the captain will always call down to the engineer and say, "I need the impossible done," and the engineer goes, "Well, I can do the impossible, but I need X amount of time," and then the captain goes, "Well, you've got half that time."
Janeway to engineering. Status.
I need 2 more minutes.
You've got 1.
Cisco to O'Brien.
O'Brien here.
How many atmospheric probes do we have on board?
2.
Could they be rigged with warheads from quantum torpedoes?
Well, we'd have to pull the imaging systems out to make room with the casings, but I don't see why not.
How long?
20 minutes?
You got 10.
Excuse me, sir. Here's the repair schedule we drew up for the Defiant.
How long will the repairs take?
16 hours.
Oh, you can do it in 12.
12. Sure. No problem.
How much refit time till we can take her out again?
8 weeks, sir. But you don't have 8 weeks, so I'll do it for you in 2.
Mr. Scott, have you always multiplied your repair estimates by a factor of 4?
Certainly, sir. How else can I keep my reputation as a miracle worker?
Your reputation is secure, Scotty.
So poor old General Hammond thinks he's the captain of a starship. He calls down to Sergeant Sylar and says, "How long to fix the gate?" And Sergeant Sylar shits in his hat.
You've almost replaced all the superconductive interface elements, sir. The old one's all melted. It's going to take some time to load test them, though.
Just tell me the minute we can send a probe through.
That'll be 24 hours, General, minimum.
Captain Carter and Colonel O'Neill do not have that long.
I'll give you half that.
No, sir, it doesn't work that way. 24 hours is the best I can do.
And you'd better get back to it.
Yes, sir.
All right, then.
Come on, let's go.
Poor Hammond.
Siler did what no one in fiction had done up until that time. He's actually said no.
It doesn't work that way, idiot.
He went as far as to say 24 hours minimum.
Yeah.
Like, at the very minimum, said 24 hours. I'll give you half. He's like, no. Did I just fucking stutter?
I know I have a lisp, but did I stutter?
Yeah, it's like a sergeant talking to like a 2-star general.
Yeah.
I love
No,
it how
sir, it doesn't work that way.
Hammond hesitates like he's trying to work out, is this guy bullshitting like he just wants overtime? Or,
Yeah.
like, I don't know anything about mechanics, so I'm just going to have to take his word.
I wanna see
Teal'c's
Get back
like,
to
they
us.
don't have that long. Yeah, he's kind of right. You got half that time.
It was an episode of Family Guy. They'd cut to like Hammond sitting on the couch the night before watching an old episode of Star Trek, hearing Kirk say that, and he goes, I'm going to use that tomorrow. He gets all excited, walks all the way into work, goes to do it, and Silas just like, no, sir, not going to happen.
Doesn't
He's
work
just
like
like,
that in the real world, buddy.
but I'm Kirk. I'm Captain Kirk.
I'm the boss.
So, Rhys, I guess the big thing about this episode was the reveal of where indeed they were stranded.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that before they actually say it, or
I had a little idea, but I'm like, nah, I cancelled myself out because I'm like, nah, there's already been one on Earth. So there can't be another. If there's already one there, then there can't be another one. So I just disengaged from that idea. But then as soon as they said it, I'm just like, and then explained it. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm kind of thinking, how did they explain that it only goes to the Earth, to the SGC gate in the end?
They didn't. It's something that obviously Rhys been aware of, but yeah, I think you're probably thinking of sort of future seasons of knowledge that we have. They do retcon it in later seasons that the gate connected to the DHD becomes the primary Stargate. So any incoming wormholes should have actually gone to Antarctica. Yeah. But that's obviously something that hadn't been set up in world yet.
Well, the home symbol on the Antarctic Stargate was different, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
so if
true.
they're calling the one with the second one that's in the SG room, SGC, then they'll be calling that specific one. If you're going to call the second one, you need that second symbol.
because the gate that you're dialing from has its own unique
point of origin.
Shadron, point of origin.
So Earth only has a six symbol address.
Yeah.
So if you're dialing those six,
but you put
six
your area
digits,
code on, not their
and
area
like
code.
so theoretically, the search teams they send out, when they dial back, theoretically should have gone to Antarctica, but that's not something that's set up until I think season 4. That the DHD is the controlling device, because otherwise the episode would have been over in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So if the two symbols, the two home symbols are separate on the gates, then why didn't it work? Like they explained it like it was engaged. If you're calling your own home number while you're on your home phone and it's engaged, but it's got a
you can't call like they couldn't call each other. Like if Carter, in her infinite wisdom, had just dialed back where they came from.
Yeah,
or
that's what I
the
thought
Tolan homeworld, or the Nox homeworld, they could have gone there.
Yeah. I think she did, but the problem was...
No, she didn't.
No, I think she did, but the problem is the point of origin symbol she was pressing was wrong, because the Earth point of origin little triangle symbol wasn't on their gate as the point of origin, so they think they're on a different planet. So
that's what I mean.
The point of origin symbol was
she kept
always
dialing
wrong.
Earth constantly. That's all she was doing, was dialing Earth. If she had have dialed anywhere,
but the point of origin would have been wrong, because regardless of what is on the DHD, the Earth Tari symbol wasn't on her DHD, and that's the point of origin. It doesn't matter what the DH is. It's got to do with the position in the universe. So no matter what because you can take a DHD from another planet and put it on Earth, and it's not going to work unless you're
that is the original
gate
Earth's gate.
But that's the gate builders.
Why wasn't there an Earth symbol on it then, if it was on Earth?
You'll find that out in about 6 seasons' time.
These ages.
I don't see how that's... anyway. Because for me, if she had dialed anywhere but Earth, she would have got a lock.
Well, no, because the point of origin would have been wrong, because she wouldn't have been using... It's the same reason in the film why they couldn't get the Stargate to work, is because they didn't know what the 7th symbol was, and Daniel figured out that to get a wormhole to engage from Earth, you need to have that little triangle symbol with the circle as the 7th symbol.
So in essence, that Stargate has been disconnected.
It's worthless.
And the only the only reason they've got there is because of
the solar flare or whatever it was that pushed them, or the energy surge that pushed them into that gate.
Yeah.
I guess that then explains it. If that's the truth, and that kind of explains, in a way, why they
Yeah, but no, it
going
doesn't.
to the
It
other
doesn't
gate.
explain why the search
Income.
teams, when they were dialing back in, because they're only dialing the 6 symbols for Earth, should have diverted to Antarctica. But that's something that wasn't.
Why was the
established in
explanation
Earth
then that it's engaged because they're trying to call themselves?
No. We're talking about two different things, Rhys. So you're talking about when Carter's trying to dial Earth.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have worked because the point of origin is wrong, and she couldn't dial out to any other Stargate because she wasn't putting in the Earth symbol as the 7th symbol. Right. So that all makes sense. But Gary and Daniel and Hammond and stuff, they've sent out search teams to other planets.
Yeah.
When those teams dialed back to Earth, they would have dialed the 6 symbols for Earth and whatever planet they were on's point of origin.
Yeah.
In future Stargate lore, the Stargate that has the DHD attached to it, which is where Carter and O'Neill was, is the dominant gate. So that as soon as Carter activated the DHD, any incoming wormholes should have gone to Antarctica. So theoretically, if the Goa'uld decided at that moment to attack and send a bomb through, it wouldn't have gone to SGC, it would have gone through into Antarctica.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. But like I said, we're looking at this from having known 10 years worth of Stargate. That's not actually the whole DHD thing isn't established until I think Watergate in season 4 is when they established or maybe season 3 with Touchstone. I think it might be established in Touchstone.
Yeah.
I've never really thought about it until now, but I wonder why, in their infinite wisdom, the creators of the Stargate made it so that you had to put in where you were. Like, it's like saying, if I'm dialing you on my phone, I don't have to put in my phone number before I call you, or at the end of it. It's like, in a way, like, it's like all Stargates, I guess, remain, they might look the same or subtly different or whatever, but it's like, why do you have to put where you're coming from? Because
it's almost like it calculates the path that the wormhole's going through so you don't go through a sun or something like that.
But like, it's almost like it's in a way, it's almost like it's, when you put in the 6 symbols, it's establishing where you want to go, and then you have to tell it where to start from, whereas it's like, shouldn't it know where to start from? Because that's where the connection to the address is.
It's always been one of
coming
those weird things for me trying to wrap my head around that. I think because obviously in the film it was kind of established that there's only 2 gates in the entire universe, and it's more of a code.
Yeah.
So the last symbol is where it's coming from and where it's going. But obviously when they've retconned it for the TV series to say the Stargate goes everywhere, they've kind of had to skirt around that a little bit. And that's something that I find has never really been touched on in the entire series. Is, in my mind, it's always been, well, say there's 1 million Stargates in the universe. The Stargate from Earth can only go to a certain few, and then you've kind of got to relay your way through because you don't have enough symbols on the gate to get there. But I think as the series goes on, they kind of just infer that Earth Stargate can go to every Stargate in the universe or in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that if Carter had dialed somewhere else, she would have got a lock.
I don't, because there was no Earth point of origin.
Yeah, but what was that
doesn't need
symbol that she'd never seen before?
Yeah,
that was the point of. She assumed that was the point of origin because it's a symbol she'd never seen before.
Because this gate in Antarctica is older than the one they have in the SGC. So theoretically, the one in the SGC never existed on Earth at that point. So that DHD is the Earth DHD. So originally, that symbol that she was using as the point of origin was the Earth's point of origin at one point.
Can I use an in-universe theory? Maybe the DHD just hadn't calculated for stellar drift yet.
Yeah,
science meets convenience.
as Mitch and all the guys in the DC chat say, it's just a TV show.
Well, I think we can get back to this in the season finale anyway, because it kind of touches on that again.
Obviously there's other things I'd like to talk about it, but obviously I don't want to spoil it for Rhys in terms of what this means. The fact that we've found a second gate on Earth, and it predates Rhys Gate by, what do they say, several thousand years or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess, and the fact that there's another symbol on the gate, I'm guessing that opens the door to go to more planets than first originally thought.
Well, I guess it makes sense too, because if you think about it, the whole reason Daniel was able to figure out what Earth's point of origin was is because it was a Ra logo. It was a pyramid with the sun and people praying at it. Well, that turns out was never Earth's original point of origin. It's just the new gate has that symbol. because of Ra. So it does definitely open up a lot of possibilities.
Did Ra
about
create that Stargate or?
Yeah, because one of Daniel's ongoing things since I think the Torment of Tantalus was he has proof that the Goa'uld didn't build the Stargate system.
Yep.
So this
it was like Teal'c was created and then Ra started Optus.
Yeah,
pretty much. Pretty much exactly right.
Well, I'd say that if Ra
Dodo.
I was going to say if Ra is Optus, then Apophis must be like Virgin Mobile or something like that.
Now, you were saying something interesting the other week, Brendan, about how much they were looking ahead, the studio behind SG-1. At this point, had they already greenlit season 3 and 4?
Well, they halfway through this season, and they signed for another 44. So
so probably by this stage,
they had 88 in basically that are definitely going to happen.
Yeah, this is the second or third episode back from their hiatus from the half season.
So I wonder whether this was almost done in reaction to that. But if that is the case, I wonder. I mean, you guys knowing that this show went on for 10 seasons, or even knowing then at the time they made this episode that it was ideally going for 4, if their ratings kept up to the point where they were obviously at the time. Is this in a way too early to throw in a second Stargate in the mix when we know that there's only essentially one per solar system or whatever?
It's bloody exciting. I can tell you
it's exciting as all hell, but it just seems like
up.
Such a big thing. It's like, we're only, 17 episodes in. Oh, by the way, here's a second Stargate into your entire galaxy, into your world that's still getting used to the first one.
Yeah, I think it was early, but I think... Again, without giving out too much away for Rhys, it does work out kind of well because I think it kind of basically just goes into the Indiana Jones lockup room for 2 seasons. I don't think we see it until sort of the end of season 3 or end of season 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like by the time it comes up again, I'd completely forgotten about it, and I feel like in some of the situations they get into in a couple of seasons' time, if we'd only found out about the second gate a couple of episodes before that, you go, they'll just pull out the second gate.
Yeah, right.
Whereas because they kind of do this, put it in storage, when it is used, you're like, oh, that's awesome!
Yeah. So, like, a good safety net for the writers. Like, there's something something big we can always use.
Yeah,
but
just this awesome
it's
thing
not
in
so
our back
obvious.
pocket.
Yeah,
I did write that down though, Mitch. Like, it'd be so hard to write this so early on because you know that what you're writing now is lore or canon in this universe. Obviously, they retconned it still, but you'd have to really think about it really hard. Maybe they didn't, obviously.
Well, it's good, like you saying that. It's good that we see that Brad Wright wrote it and Martin Wood directed it, 2 long stayers in the franchise, that they were at least a part of this episode.
Yeah.
Whether or not they had long-term plans for it or not.
Also, touching on going back to Silo when he's fixing the gate, and he's got the grinder on the electrical circuits or whatever, and there's just sparks flying out, and then Teal'c's just walking through like an absolute boss. Just did not care. I just love that. I don't know why.
With his frowny face that he always gets.
Yeah. Cock the eyebrow.
Mate, his eyebrow articulation is second to none.
Second to only
none.
The Brahma Bull, I guess.
The Rock, yes. The people.
Wait, was that in this edit or was that in the old one?
I think it's this one. I love it how Carter's trying to fix the DHD for ages, and she's like, "Oh wait, I'll just turn it off and turn it back on and see if that works." That's a miracle.
I guess the downside to that is she's got to spend 4 hours digging through ice to be able to do that. Yeah. She's like, "Damn it! I wish I didn't have to do that."
Classic technology.
Did you like to, I guess, how confused they were about... Like, you got to think that if Daniel was stuck there, they might have solved the problem a little bit quicker because he is all about... he helped them establish the SGC in the movie anyway, or at least about travelling off-world. If he was down there, like he was on the water planet, what was that one a couple of weeks ago?
Fire and Water.
Yeah, and Fate Hamaroka. Yeah. It was like, thank God he was there because he was able to converse with it in its language and actually go back through, Earth's history and be able to relate stories. Like, you got to think, if it was O'Neill was not going to be able to help him as much. So thank God Jackson was there. In this, it's
like it's almost preempted.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's like some all-powerful being wanted it to work out that way.
If Jackson was down here, would he, do you think, have solved the problem a little bit quicker? So it was kind of good that you don't just have O'Neill, because O'Neill might have had no idea, but you give Carter, who's a little bit of Jackson, but a little bit of O'Neill as well.
For me, Carter was studying the gate for 2 years, so she has more knowledge than Jackson.
I think if Jack wasn't sort of like had a punctured lung and broken and like on the verge of dying, she would have been able to more rationally take her time and think about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was coming at it from a hard science point of view of what she knows about the technology of the Stargate. Daniel would have come at it from a histrionics point of view. I reckon he would have been studying the symbols and going, well, if this is the point of origin, it looks like... And he would, because he's the one that figured out that it was star constellations and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like Carter is obviously an astrophysicist. She knows her shit. She would have gotten to that point eventually and actually started studying the symbols and what they mean. But because Jack was over coughing up a lung and ready to die, I just don't think she got into that panic mode and was just going into what she knows best, which is the hardcore science.
So according to your theory, Matt, no matter what she would have done, she couldn't have got out of there through the gate.
I don't think so. Not with the DHD. They would have had to have dialed manually like they did on Tantalus. Yeah, I don't think...
But which point of origin would they have used on the gate then?
Well, theoretically, that symbol, like the Earth point of origin symbol, is on the gate, theoretically.
I wouldn't imagine so, because if that's the DHD belongs to that gate.
Because if it's a symbol that she said, I've never seen it before, so obviously it's not on the SGC gate.
Yeah, that as a point of origin, but there's that's the hardest thing is we don't know. Like we can't sit down and study every single gate, but theoretically the Earth point of origin symbol is actually like the third symbol in the address of a planet and the fifth symbol in the address of a different planet.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
we don't know how interchangeable these symbols are, but unless, well, see it again. I don't want to give too much away for Rhys in what happens later on.
All I can say is we are having quite a civil argument or discussion about this. You guys, two long-term fans of the show, different ideas and how this is all go.
And the worst part is we'll never know the answer because
because it happens in the finale. That's what I wasn't going to do a spoiler either.
But no, all I'm saying is that had this have been written by Robert C. Cooper, this would have been a lot more of an expletive-laden episode.
Shit writing, mate. Don't even worry about it.
Robert C. Cooper does whatever he wants.
We would have given up 15 minutes ago and just said Robert Cooper's an idiot.
But right now it's like, Brad Wright. I mean, he knew what he was doing, and let's think about why he thought the way that he did. Like Robert wouldn't have given him the time of day.
Yeah.
If I can change the subject, when they're digging for the DHD, who didn't put their phone on silent?
You don't bring Harry Potter into a Stargate.
When they're digging for the DHD, what she found, it looked like a hand, a Serpent Guard. I've got here.
Yeah. That's what Teal'c is. He's a Serpent Guard of Apophis, or like a Serpent Guard is a Jafar. Basically.
Jafar that has the big snake head. So you know how? Do you remember from the film where there was one guy with the dog head, and then one guy with the bird head, and then one guy, and then in the show we get snake head. Well, they're known as Serpent Guard, and then they call them a Horus Guard, and I don't think if they ever really talk about the Dog Guard or a Coyote Guard, Guard or whatever it is.
What's it called?
But yeah, the Serpent Guard is basically the name of Apophis's dudes, I guess.
So obviously they would have had to travel to Earth through that gate originally.
Yeah, given
then build the second gate.
Given what we know, would it really have been a Serpent Guard? And she only just saw the hand, so maybe it was just a Jafar in armor, but it might not necessarily have been an actual Serpent Guard.
Obviously, that gate was lost. That's why Ra brought another gate there and started using that.
So unless Ra had Serpent Guard as well, or Carter was just using Serpent Guard as a generic term for Jafar.
Yeah, what about when they're trying to get some sleep? And she's like, and Neil's like, it's my sidearm, I swear.
Even in death, he's got time for a little while.
Well, this is the start of the Sam Jack shipping thing. People actually, you'll get to know this, Rhys. This is when fans start wanting Jack and Sam to get together. They go, oh, they've got a bit of chemistry here. Which I found really odd, because if you think about it, he's a dying man who hallucinates his ex-wife, and Carter just kind of fakes being his wife to comfort a dying man, and people have seen that as, oh, these two are getting it on. It's like, it's really odd going back now and going, oh, it's actually a little bit.
Yeah, that does not a great relationship make.
That's not romantic. That's not romantic at all.
I mean, I want him to just bang.
Just get one out of the way.
Be like, oh, I love you.
Clear the pipes.
No, just all the time. Like, are you busy? No, let's go for a bloody 20-minute romp.
Speaking of this, I think she says that she can MacGyver a system. I think Carter at one point
in the pilot, she talks. Oh, it took us 5 years to MacGyver enough such and such to get the gate to work. Well, along with her great speech about her reproductive organs being on the inside.
There's another thing here that
forget
that we managed to find on the ether that is the universe of Stargate.
You spent 7 years on MacGyver and you can't figure this one out? We got belt buckles and shoelaces and a piece of gum. Build a nuclear reactor, for crying out loud. You used to be MacGyver, McGadget, McGimmick. Now you're Mr. McUseless. Dear God. Stuck on a glacier with MacGyver!
That's brilliant. So good. He had nothing to.
That's
awesome. He had nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just lying around on YouTube, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube.
Might share it on the socials if you haven't seen it. Just head to the Get Into Gate Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's fun. She sounds a lot different too. They're like, is it just in the post production the way the?
I think
it was just the audio.
Yeah. Hey, that was raw stuff. Yeah. That was funny.
I think it might even be on some of the special features on certain releases of the DVDs as well.
Yeah, they'd be mad not to put that on.
I think it is. That's probably why I thought she said we have to MacGyver a system.
Yeah, and one of the few bloopers. Like, a lot of the DVD extras, a lot of, special half-hour bits. Behind the scenes and video diaries and stuff like that. But it's one of the very few bloopers you actually see from Stargate.
I think in Season 8 they have a really good gag reel.
Yeah.
There's one that comes
Bitch, slap that punk, Barbas!
Yeah,
that's
Chris
right.
Judge is just being loose.
That's right.
Which is so hard to believe if you've only ever seen him as Teal'c.
That's right, because they thought it was It's quite funny. They did that DVD extra as like a video diary of Christopher Judge's last day on set ever. Because they thought the series was being cancelled at season 8, and then it came back for 9 and 10. So it's kind of this
2 more
weird...
movies.
I actually watched a video on YouTube the other week where Chris Judge was on an episode of MacGyver.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You sent that to us, didn't you?
I did.
Brilliant.
But yeah,
it was like a football player.
It was me. It's definitely me.
Yeah, that was so random.
Is that it then, hey?
Wow, we really got into that gate tech, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically a writer's room. So if the show ever wants to get a revival, just bring it up. We can be the chief story consultants.
Forget the Roland Emmerich movies. Just bring us back and we'll write a whole new show.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's not pretend like we haven't got our own fan fiction at home or something. I don't know, we have our own ideas for a story.
The only other thing that they said was they installed frequency dampeners to stop the vibration.
That was a nice callback to when, like, the Daniel brings up, didn't this place used to shake all the time?
Yeah.
How come it doesn't anymore?
Yeah. So they had a seismometer to find out where they were.
Thought of everything.
Oh, mate.
That was something that I just remembered from Enigma when they sent that drone through and they blasted it through with the rockets flying out. And I'm like, when you go through the Stargate, don't you get, like, ice? Isn't it freezing through there? Like, why wouldn't the...
Yeah, they got rid of that.
That's what those dampeners do, mate. They get rid of all that.
It's because we didn't have a DHD.
And they compensated for stellar drift.
Yeah.
Fixed everything.
Stellar drift was the problem.
Yeah.
Fix that. Fix everything.
Once you stop stellar drifting, then you don't get covered in ice. And you don't get thrown out of the Stargate at like 40 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, and space isn't cold anymore, so it's fine.
People can hear you scream.
It breaks all the rules. That is Solitudes, episode 17 of Stargate SG-1, season 1. Thank you, boys. Another good episode. Very in depth today, and good way to kick off. Good way to kick off the year, I think.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we'll come back to that in the finale, and we'll agree to disagree again.
Finale of this season?
Yes.
Interesting.
You sound sure.
No, because they did it. They've done it a couple of times.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Hey, if I'm wrong, I'll just blame Robert Cooper. It's fine.
Yeah. It's our go-to.
And if Brendan's wrong, he'll just blame Robert Cooper. So it's fine. It's we're all good.
So that's the thing. The writers, if they run into trouble, they've got a second gate. We've got a problem. Robert C. Cooper.
Yeah, that's it.
He went off and had 2 seasons off. We don't care. It's his problem. Get into Gate. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You want to drop us a line? Get into Gate at gmail.com, and all our podcasts on Soundcloud and iTunes. Of course, Get Into Gate is part of the much bigger world that is Get Into Geek. Geek. We're talking all things movies, TV reviews, all that sort of gear, all the news as well. You can find them on the same socials, and getintogeek.com has everything Get Into Geek and Get Into Gate related. Myself, Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Matty.
High Pitch Matty.
Rhys.
I'm at the Flying Gibson.
And Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson.
How come I never do the at? I just realised that.
Yeah, you never do. You just assume.
You know, it's like the www that some people still give you when they tell
Yeah,
you a
true.
website. I'm like, guys, everything is www. You don't need to do it.
Plus, Mitch always says, where can we find you? And you say, High Pitch Matty. But for us, it's just like, Rhys, Brendan. If you said Brendan, the Brendan Gibson, it just sounds weird.
Yeah, that's true. So
Like, yeah, that guy rates himself.
Yes. Brendan, the Brendan Gibson. Thank you. That's how you should refer to me as.
We'll be back next week to talk more Stargate SG-1.
GetIntoGeek.com